Jesus Christ! You're not going to believe this.
What is it?
I found these plates.
Can you put them back in the cupboard?
They're religious plates.
What?
I have to translate engraved messages on these plates and start a religion.
Right.
And I have to marry other women.
Oh my God!
Hello. The first thing I want to say about religion is that I'm jealous of anyone who believes in one. What a comfort it must be to believe in a higher being when life becomes difficult. Samantha Stein, aka Yosemite Sam, has done a really interesting video about religion and autism. She says, faith is believing something without evidence, and that is seen as a virtue by many people. But this is ultimately something that I can't do, because faith is supposed to be an emotional comfort, but to me there is no comfort in illusion. That's what prevents me from following a religion. I need to know that it's based on facts. This makes sense to me as an autistic person because I'm fascinated in knowledge for the sake of knowing things, but mainly because I want to make informed decisions. This comes back to my autistic need for predictability and safety. If I'm informed as much as possible, I'm more likely to make a decision that will have positive consequences. When I was at university, I used to go to Bible study sessions, during which I discussed the Bible with Christian students from the UK and the US. They all seemed so at ease with life because they were certain that they knew the truth. I went to an Alpha Course session in Cambridge city centre. The Alpha Course introduces the basics of Christianity through talks and discussions, though the only things that I remember from the Alpha session that I went to were the prayers and the free dinner. I think I stopped going to Bible study sessions after someone told me that I would be punished for doubting that the Bible was true. I said I was asking questions because I have free will, and I asked why God would give us free will only to then condemn us for using it. The person I was speaking with smiled and didn't give a satisfactory answer. He then used his free will and walked away. The very first person I spoke with at university was a Christian. She was called Lucy, and she was really friendly, despite me playing Radiohead very loudly and very late in the room next to hers. Lucy sadly passed away last November, in her early 40s. I don't understand why such a kind person was taken away so soon when certain others live much longer lives. 12 years ago, I met a couple of Mormon Christians for Bible study sessions in the local library. I was unemployed, and I spent most days in the local library trying to entertain my son, who was very young at the time. Mormons believe that there are 3 degrees of glory in heaven: the celestial kingdom, the terrestrial kingdom, and the telestial kingdom. I think I asked one of the Mormons if they knew which kingdom they would enter. They didn't seem sure, and I think that was the point when I lost interest. I say that, but I think the origins of Mormonism are very interesting. The story of how Mormonism began is a lesson in the power of faith. The founder of Mormonism, Joseph Smith, was born in Vermont in 1805. He and his family moved from Vermont to western New York after the year without a summer in 1816. This was when global temperatures dropped so much that crops failed, leading to food shortages and riots. The main cause of the year without a summer was the eruption of Mount Tambora on the island of Sumbawa in Indonesia in April 1815, as the volcanic ash and gases released into the atmosphere blocked sunlight. While Joseph Smith and his family struggled to start a new life in the summer of 1816, Mary Shelley was on holiday in Switzerland. However, the weather was so bad she had to stay indoors and invent Frankenstein to pass the time. Anyway, 4 years later, Joseph Smith had a vision of Jesus Christ and God by a hill near his home. In 1823, he was visited by an angel called Moroni, who told him about some golden plates which had been engraved by ancient prophets. Over the next 4 years, he made annual visits to the hill. On the final visit, he found the plates, and Moroni told him to translate the ancient writings into English and publish them. These translations became the Book of Mormon. Quite a few years earlier, around the year 610, a man called Muhammad was visited by the angel Gabriel. Over a 23-year period, Gabriel revealed the words of God to Muhammad, and these words became the Quran. I was recently given a tour of the local mosque by the imam. He effortlessly recalled parts of the Quran while describing parts of this beautiful building. My favorite part of the tour was when he showed me a calendar and how important the mosque is in terms of bringing people together and how the Quran provides daily structure. In her video about religion and autism, Samantha Stein also says that religion can appeal to autistic people because it provides routine and structure. I completely understand this, and while I like being alone a lot of the time, I love the idea of being part of a community through a shared purpose, such as the belief in a religion. As I said, if you have a faith, I'm jealous of you, and I respect your right to follow a religion. In the meantime, unless I'm personally visited by a celestial being, I'll keep believing that we should focus on this world. Thank you for listening, and take care.